Good morning. All right, let's take a look at some small caps really quickly. Look at this thing, ENGN. Man. Decent runner here in pre-market. This is probably the main one. We do have QNRX running now too. A couple little biotechs. Let's see here. So QNRX, we have some news. What is it? Okay, announced that the target loading concentrations for its two topical blah 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 blah. Let's see here. Has been formulated in the proprietary dermal patch system. Okay, moving forward, this is the news. Moving forward, with the manufacture of clinical trial and stability batches, this quarter. Clinical testing the first half of 2026. There we go. That is the news. So we're going to be doing some clinical trials on that. MSPR is too cheap. I like the chart though. ENGN, another one. Wow, Turb is up and down way too fast. That's unfortunate. A lot of biotechs. The market is healing. Hopefully we hit some QNRX. We're going to keep a watch on that. QNRX is a pretty low float one. Got to be careful. Let's see here. ENGN, yep. The main one so far. Improved complete response rate at 62% of 6 months. Phase 2 trial. Okay, reported additional data. It's ongoing. Phase 2 trial. All right. That's all I need to know. So at ENGN, this one is kind of the chart has not done a ton since the SPAC was acquired back here in 2023. Not a ton of volume on the chart, so kind of interesting. 78% institutional ownership on that one. Something to keep an eye on. ENGN. And let's see here. Yeah, those are going to be the main two. Unfortunately, Turb is already back down. Nonsense. Pretty crazy. Okay. Now we have some big news from Trump. This is pretty big news from Trump, talking about crypto and how the entire US financial system could change over to crypto and go on the blockchain. Now, this is Ethereum. Bitcoin and Ethereum are the only two crypto coins that matter, in my opinion, at the moment. And this is the or the Ethereum chart, which I believe is pretty prime for a massive move. So usually we have a big fake out dip before the move happens. So we can see from this blueprint right here, it's tracking that pretty well. And we have this big choppy period into a pullback breakdown, breaking down major support. And then, usually when that happens, that's where we see the reclaim and then some sort of big move up. So we're not just going by that, though. We want to use some trend lines. We do have the news, though. So we want to see the news. We have a news catalyst, and we want to see the chart agree with this idea, because that's all it is right now. It's just an idea. But if what Trump is saying is true, then we could see a massive crypto rally very soon. So just looking at this daily chart on Ethereum, then we could be seeing, maybe 7,000 or 8,000 by beginning of next year. Maybe January, February area would be totally possible if it does play out like this. So we have also Bitcoin, which I've got a pretty nice blueprint on as well. Similar timing, actually. Similar timing for this. Obviously, no move has happened yet. We're still holding this dip off of the double top fake out move, which it just did perfectly. And let me just adjust the visibility on that a little bit. So we got the double top fake out on Bitcoin. Just poked over the high a little bit, pushing into that 125 level. And since it did that, that was the fake out, which triggered this pullback, or led into this pullback, which has now taken out some major levels, kind of chopping its way down lower and lower. There is a major level here to test. Maybe it holds that, maybe it doesn't. But the blueprint is saying that we're going to have maybe some more consolidation before moving higher again towards the end of the year. So the timing is very similar on both of these ideas. And Bitcoin's going to push up to probably more than this. I think this is probably an underestimate of what could happen. Given the news, it could be more of an aggressive move up like this. We saw back here in 2024, November, towards the end of the year again. That end of year timing seems to be kind of important because we've seen a lot of these moves happen towards the end of the year. Another one right here in 2023. November, move higher through February, all the way through March. So that's probably what would happen. That would be my guess if we get this. So here's Trump saying that we're going to switch over to the cryptocurrency. The financial system will be running on the blockchain. Okay, here we go. Let's see what he says in this short clip.
Many Americans are unaware that behind the scenes, the technical backbone of the financial system is decades out of date, many, many years out of date. You know that. Paul and others are straightening it out, but payments and money transfers are costly and take days or even weeks to clear. Under this bill, the entire ancient system will be eligible for a 21st century upgrade using the state-of-the-art crypto technology. Who would have thought we would have been saying that 2 years after many Americans are?
So there we go. The entire financial system will go on chain. Mega bullish for crypto. Okay, and our financial system is outdated. Will be replaced by a crypto-based one. Let's see what some comments here say. This move is about to trigger the biggest bull run in history. Probably would. It probably would. The only thing is, this isn't really crypto, at least not in the way that the majority of people have come to know it. It's Chainlink. Okay. So, I guess the concern with this would be that we're not going to just go on to Bitcoin. We're not just going to go on to Ethereum, and start using that as our primary currency. But we're going to maybe just create a blockchain system to replace our financial system and not just switch over to one of these existing ones. So that would be a problem maybe for Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc. But it's really difficult to say how this will play out. At least in the short term, it seems like an incredibly bullish turn of events. We got Trump, the president, pumping crypto again. And this would be a really, really massive catalyst. So the other concern with this is if we do go to some sort of crypto-style economy, financial system, then what's going to happen with the US dollar? You're going to need people to get off of the dollar. And one of the best ways to do that is to simply devalue the dollar to the point where, well, it just makes financial sense to switch over to whatever the new system is. And also, at the same time, eliminate the debt. Because if you've got, what are we at, 38 trillion in debt, something like that. But then if you devalue the dollar by half, well, you just cut your debt in half too. And why stop at half? Why not devalue it by 90%? Cut the debt down significantly while simultaneously switching over your financial system to something else so that your country isn't hurt by it. Just pure speculation, but that's something that maybe could happen. Who knows? Or maybe the government just makes so much money from crypto that they can pay off the debt with crypto. There's a bunch of ways this could play out, but I'm just purely speculating on all of this. But for the moment, it does look like crypto is set up pretty nicely to have a nice run into the end of the year. Again, with that November-December timing that we've seen in the past, it's actually set up again pretty much the same. So we could see a virtually identical play that we saw the previous runs. So we'll see if it plays out like this. We'll keep an eye on it. Definitely going to be some investment opportunities when this happens, if this happens. Again, this is pure speculation, but we'll be watching and we'll see what Trump has in mind for the financial system. All right. Started some QNRX. This one's a little bit wacky. This one had a crazy run back here on 1010. ENGN kind of coming down a little bit into the open. Of course, we still have our KView long on. So we called this one out way back here. We have the long. We're looking for that move up towards 21. Here's the daily chart. We got a nice trend break. We got the Trump dump. Classic into Kimberly-Clark acquisition for $48 billion, which is that is right around a $21 valuation. So that's why we think, hey, maybe this could go up to 21 bucks a share. Looking pretty good on that. Cracker Barrel, we're watching. We want to see something like this happen. Again, we're watching trend breaks, so never just guessing into a play like this. Got to have trend breaks. We got to have, the chart agreeing with the idea, all that stuff. We're not just buying the dip, because look at that. If I had bought the dip here, I'd be down huge. Not to say that this won't still work, but, why not just wait for the trend break? Which hasn't even happened yet, which is shocking to me, but there it is. Pretty interesting. Etsy, of course, this is actually set up really nice for a big, long swing. Just had a nice pullback into the base. I should probably add back in some Etsy, around 60 bucks a share. I think this has potential to push up to 100. It has broken the trend line like this. Looking kind of nice. BMNR is the Ethereum play. So very tied to Ethereum, but this has a lot of potential to do something nice. All right. Slower Tuesday. Monday was pretty hot, really. We had GLTO. Let's see here. Let me show the trades real quick from that. GLTO getting in. Covered the dip here. And then it didn't want to go down, so it didn't give the follow through at all. Reclaimed in after hours. IMTE gave it up pretty quick there in pre-market. SELX again, same thing. pretty quick move in pre-market. And then it was bouncing around there during regular hours. Kind of annoying if I stuck around too long on that. Same with this one. Yeah, pretty annoying one day actually. But pretty good results overall. Nothing going easy though, except for those really quick trades in pre-market. Let's see here. Anything else? We got MSPR. Kind of interesting. Sub-dollar stock though. Maybe this one can push over $1 after the open. Fingers crossed on that. Put an alert in. Yeah, it's got kind of a nice base built up. Let me pull this out to the 2-hour. Yeah, kind of a nice looking base, really, for a big multi-day breakout. Gearing up. Potentially, usually these fail, but this is how they set up before they break out. So, you know, potentially this will break $1 and it could go up to $2, $2.50, somewhere in there, if it really gets going. Plus, it's, these stocks have to hold $1. So if they don't hold $1, they get delisted. So there's incentive for this to go above $1 and stay above $1 for a while. It is pretty primed to do that. But, we'll see. We'll see what it does. A lot of times these are just fake outs. You might just fake out the breakout level. Fake out, breakout. Come back down. Longs are tough into these breakouts. It's really kind of like a 30% win rate strategy. But when it works so well. And that's the battle with the buying the breakout. Really have to eat it a lot of times to get to that winner. And it is profitable, but it is a battle. You might be able to pick the right ones too if you're really good. Definitely something worth watching. All right, 1 minute to the bell. GLTO. Nice mover yesterday. This was the one that had all the potential. Looking like day 2 might be a fade. Probably not going to touch that one. Things get really difficult usually on day 2. Morning, Scotty. All right, ENGN, what are we going to do? Looks like it's pushing quite a bit right now. Most likely fails. QNRX. Kind of a sketchy one. Gotta prove me wrong. So we had a decent Monday. Was expecting today to be slower. Got a couple trades on though, so hopefully we can hit some wins. Swings are on KView, Pfizer, and PayPal, mainly. So if Trump keeps pumping up the crypto stuff, then we're probably going to see some crypto runners again before too much longer. So apparently our entire financial system is going to go on the blockchain now. We'll put a video up about that later. Cuban RX probably the most likely to squeeze. GL2O, the most obvious day 2 setup. I do need a better day 2 setup. This one kind of gapped a little bit. Kind of a weak gap, but In pre-market, it did have some nice extension. Move was another one from yesterday. Just so illiquid though. That's the problem with a lot of these day 2 setups. Liquidity dries up. Not even $1 million traded since the open. Okay, QNRX trying to squeeze. These things either rip or they just get obliterated. Oh, MSPR is looking strong. That's nice. I want to see this one get to $1. Probably should be long this one. All right, let's see. Yeah. It looks like a rare long setup, honestly. I don't usually buy though unless we get a significant amount of consolidation. So usually this pre-market high breaks are fake outs. So it's really not something I can buy right here. It could work, but best case really would be if it pulls back, holds a dip right around 65, holds over here, and then it comes back up maybe after a decent amount of consolidation, proving itself that it's going to actually hold up. Then we might have a trade for a long. And I don't do the scalpy stuff, I can see the appeal in that, but you could be in and out by now and make 5%. But really the goal is not to make 5%, and for me, it's to find these setups that are going to sustain for a while and give me 40% or 50%. That's really where I'm trying to be. And it's got to prove itself to be able to do that. Now, if it can pull back here, hold up through midday-ish, and start pushing around 11, 11:30, then we have a potential long on our hands. So I got to watch for that. If it gets too extended here, it's just not a play. But it could hold a dip pretty much anywhere. PayPal looking good. Yeah, both those looking good. QNRX, ENG's in. Try not to watch them too closely. Then I'll be wanting to lock it in. But hey, these swings are looking pretty good now. PayPal. Doesn't look like much here, but yeah, PayPal, honestly, this thing is pretty prime for an investment, in my opinion. How many stocks like this with good earnings? It's a company that people use a lot. It's got a crazy pullback off the top. It's been holding sideways for years now. It's probably not going down. I think it's just a matter of time before this thing gets picked up and gets on people's radar and ends up pushing back to over $100. It's really the same thing with Pfizer. Now Pfizer's a little different because you've got the whole RFK situation. But Pfizer was at the White House not that long ago making a deal, so who knows? Again, massive discount off the top. And quite a bit of sideways action over the past couple of years. So it is kind of looking good. We do have a massive trend break, breakout pullback kind of action. It had one pump attempt, pulled back off of that, and now it's trying to maybe hold the dip here and go again potentially. We'll see. Getting some big caps pumping pretty nicely. Nike, Pfizer, PayPal, all up. Apple as well. MSPR continuing. $275. Getting the itchy trigger finger on these trades. What a nice move on MSPR. That's what we like to see. Strength in small caps. I need to look into shorting some of these small cap earnings runners. Usually these things just pop and drop. Let's see here. There's a chance they catch some momentum though. But look at this. They got earnings pop, fade. Earnings pop, fade. Earnings pop. Well, no earnings pop there. Just drop. Earnings pop, fade. Earnings drop. Earnings pop, fade. Earnings drop. I could just short into earnings almost. This one's doing a gap fill too. The prophecy is fulfilled all at once. The gap has been filled. See, just like this one. Gap fill, fade. Beautiful. Open door. This is another crazy one. This one's got to have some nice trades left in it. Absolutely. This is the action we dream of. Locking in half of Q and RX. Look at that ridiculous move. Might just take it all. Yeah, we'll just take it there. Now that could come back more, but man. We're like 25% off the previous day's low. So I don't know. It could give it all back, but it usually doesn't give it up that easily. Sometimes it goes lower than the previous day's low. All right, I just cut ENGN. What a wacky move. All right, well, looks like that's going to halt up. I got out just before that. Got kind of lucky. Scratch on that trade. Nice win on QNRX. So I think that'll be it for me today. I got, a couple little things I'm watching, but that'll be the bulk of it probably. So I think I'll wrap it up for now. I'll put some updates there in the Discord. So good luck, everybody. We'll be back at it tomorrow.